Welcome. I am Evelyn. We spend a lifetime building a world order, believing our traditions are our strength. But what happens when that world begins to kindly unravel? Today, we explore the shadows that 40 years of silence couldn't hide. Watch closely. Your own sanctuary might be more fragile than you think.
They say a house is just wood and stone, but they are wrong. For 40 years I have polished this wood and guarded these stones. Every portrait on these walls, every silver spoon in my drawer is a silent witness to my life. I am the keeper of traditions. My family's legacy was a fortress, built to withstand the chaos of the changing world. I believed it was impenetrable, until my son brought Hannah home, a girl from a land as far as the rising sun. Suddenly, the air in my home felt different, smaller, as if my history was being crowded out by her presence. It started with a single drop. During our first formal dinner, Hannah placed a small dish of dark soy sauce right on my mother's hand-woven white linen. The pungent, sharp scent of wasabi cut through the refined aroma of my roast beef. To her, it was a taste of home. To me, it was an invasion. It felt like a black stain on our heritage. I watched her quiet, humble bows, but all I could see was a stranger rewriting the rules of my sanctuary. I began to wonder, is there still room for me in the heart of the home I built?
お母様、最近足が辛そうです。
I noticed too. Maybe we should look for a facility? We must keep it a secret for now.
Facility, secret. Those words struck me like a cold blade. They were whispering in a language I couldn't understand, planning a future I wasn't invited to. My own fortress was turning into my prison. Were they preparing to discard me? The next morning, I found it in the study. Right next to my late husband's portrait sat a photograph of my son, dressed in a silk kimono, smiling a smile I no longer recognized. He looked like a stranger. My son was being swallowed by a world of silk and cherry blossoms, moving further away from the wool and oak of his ancestors. I felt the paper cranes she left on the windowsills mocked me. I swept them into a dark drawer, hidden from sight. I didn't want her prayers. I wanted my son back. I wanted my silence back. Age is a cruel thief. It steals your grace before it steals your breath. My hips burned with every step, but I wore my pride like armor. I watched them from the shadows, two people speaking a tongue that acted as a wall between us. Every time I heard the word facility or secret, a part of me died. I imagined a cold, sterile room where they would leave me with my silver spoons and my memories. The fear was a heavy fog, making every hallway in my own home feel like a labyrinth I could no longer navigate. Then I saw the papers on the kitchen table, diagrams of ramps, modified baths, and specialized care. It was the proof I dreaded. They were measuring my exit. They were planning for a life that didn't include me in this house. My heart was a stone, cold and heavy. Then the sky cracked cracked open without warning. A sudden, violent deluge, as if the heavens had decided my garden had lived too long. I watched my roses, the ones I had tended for decades, bend and snap under the weight of the storm. Driven by a desperate, foolish instinct, I ran out to save them. But my body, this fragile, rusting cage, betrayed me. My feet lost their grip on the earth, and I collapsed into the cold, indifferent mud. My knees screamed in a language of fire, a searing reminder of every year I had lost. I felt small. I felt extinguished. Then, to the gray curtain of rain, I saw her. Hannah. She was running toward me, coatless, her eyes filled with a terror I didn't deserve. She reached out her hand, that soft, young hand, to pull me from my ruin. But even there, shivering and broken, I pushed her away. I didn't want her pity. I didn't want to be a rescued animal. In that moment, I wanted to die with my pride in the mud. In a moment of bitter despair, I pulled open the drawer and scattered her paper cranes across the floor. But as they fell, one of them unfolded. I looked closer. In Hannah's small, careful handwriting, there were words in English.
Please heal Mother's pain. Let her walk through her garden again.
I opened another.
May Mother's heart find peace in this house.
I sat on the floor, surrounded by hundreds of prayers I had mistaken for insults. She wasn't counting the days until I was gone. She was counting the stitches in her heart for me to stay. Then, in her room, I saw a small white garment. On it, the name Catherine was embroidered. My mother's name. The woman who taught me the value of our history. Hannah wasn't here to replace my legacy. She was here to give it a new heartbeat. The facility they spoke of wasn't a nursing home. It was a plan to install a lift and modify my garden so I could enjoy my roses without pain. They were building me a bridge, not a cage. They were fighting for me, while I was fighting against them. To be a senior is not to be a monument to the past. It is to be the soil that nourishes the future. I used my wisdom not to guard my gates, but to open them wider. My house no longer smells just of my mother's cinnamon. It smells of Hannah's green tea. My garden has both roses and cherry blossoms. I haven't lost my heritage. I have witnessed it blooming into something larger, something more beautiful than I could have ever imagined alone. Rest now in the peace you have created. You are the warmth that the next generation will remember forever. You are the bridge. You are the wisdom.